Welcome back. This is A Mountain Echo. It's your boy Frankie. That's Isaiah Tejas, and that's Jonah Gallegos. If this is your first time joining in, thank you for doing so. Go ahead and click the subscribe button so you can get notified. We record every Sunday and we post on Monday mornings. And if you are returning, welcome back. And this is the best podcast in Las Cruces. Boys, how we doing?
Good, man. I'm a little disappointed, a little sad coming off of a home game blue from NMSU, man. I mean, we had we still do have another game to play, but the two games that we played, the two home games we played, we lost, man. And it was a gut punch. How do you feel, Jonah?
At this point, I've seen a lot of Aggie fans say like they're not even really interested in this season, and I might be one of those. So, yeah,
Yeah. Man, the first one against Missouri State was kind of crazy. Honestly, I said in the last podcast they have to stop. I think you pronounce his name Palik, if I'm correct. Palik the third was their top scorer. I mean, hell, man, the goal was defensively to stop him. He dropped 26 on us, and offensively, I mean, we couldn't do anything. And I think that's the thing for the last two games too, as well, is we can't find ourselves offensively. We're so lackadaisical. It's so bad that even fans in the stands are saying it looked like we don't have energy offensively, and even down to my wife, who doesn't even know much about basketball, said that they have no energy offensively. So it's getting kind of ugly for us, and we need to find that energy and catch fire again, man.
Yeah, I don't know what the issue is. I've been saying it for a while. I want to be a believer of the Aggies. I don't want to give up on them. I want to go to the games. Um, but it seems like last year we had great defense, but we couldn't really get anything done offensively. And now we're scoring. We're scoring more than we did last year, but we just can't hold off. Like the first thing you mentioned, Isaiah, was their top scorer. We never had top scorers really perform well. Coach Hooten always had a plan for their top performers so that, you know, it felt like if we were able to score 75 points, we were winning that game. Did we score 75 points all the time? Negative. But it just seems like if one thing goes, the other thing is whether it's the defense or the offense, we can't figure it out. So yeah, it's definitely been frustrating. So that's the topic for today, actually, that I chose here. I love Coach Hooten. I hope we keep him forever because it's so fun to make puns with his name. But what you hooting about? What you hooting about? There's a lot of talk on Twitter or X and different social media platforms about this man's livelihood, about his ability to do his job, and I wanted to talk about it. Talk about you know where do we go from here? What do we do? Um, Jonah, you said it. You don't want to. You're losing hope on the season, but what are we? How are we feeling?
I don't know. I just feel bad for Huin, but at this point, uh, and it's just it's in his DNA to uh give the reasons why he feels his team is struggling. But at this point, like I don't know, like I feel like it's kind of getting inexcusable with not complaining about the transfer portal and having a new team every year. Every team in the nation is dealing with that. There's
Mm-hmm.
teams in the Conference USA that are handling it and still, keeping some of their players. Obviously, it's different budget and whatnot, but um, I have been hearing a lot of fire hooting stuff on X, and I don't think it's gonna happen. But with the in his contract, there was a little thing saying that if Mocha leaves and Braun Cartwright, who's the assistant AD, leaves too, which they both did, um, he gets another added year to his contract. So we have him for 3 more years. I think the buyout for him was I found a little over $1 million, which is I found it on X. Don't know how accurate that is, so don't quote me on that. But that's a lot of money for NMSU to pay. So I think we're in a bind right now, which it's we got to figure it out.
Yeah,
And
I
I
think
don't
it
think
was the
he's a terrible
notorious.
coach. Go ahead, Frankie.
It was the notorious banker. I saw that he had that tweet, so um, I'm gonna trust that he did a little bit of research. But yeah, go ahead, Isaiah.
Yeah, and I don't think he's a terrible coach because a lot of people are coming up with a misconception that he's a bad coach right now. And every fan's going to feel that way once we start going on a losing streak or we have a close to, 500 record. everyone's going to start feeling uneasy about our coach. But honestly, everybody has to understand Hooten was always a defensive coach. When he came to us, he's always stuck to his defense. He was never an offensive coach, never an offensive genius. That's why he has staff members that are familiar with offenses. But again, the rotation is questionable for me in that aspect because I mean, hell, against FIU, we had Elliott catching fire. I mean, hell, he dropped 26 points at the end of everything. I believe he was at 17 whenever he decided to bring Jones back in, and that doesn't mix well with our chemistry. And I'm noticing his rotation. He doesn't like to rotate correctly based off of the chemistry that's going on during the game. And you can't put two scorers in the game at once. You can't put Jones and Elliott if Elliott's on a hot streak, you can't put them both in the game at once. You need to let Elliott do his thing, run the offense as the point guard that we pushed him to be, and score as he was that game. Because when you throw Jones in it like he did, it threw that chemistry off with that group. And that run that we caught in and we started coming back from that game, that run that we caught and Elliott was bringing us back, we lost that. And again, that rotation issue also happened against Missouri State. And I'm catching on to he's not a bad coach. He just needs to work on figuring out what type of personnel we have and figuring out the chemistry with those groups. That's my issue, I believe.
And that issue I feel like is worrisome at this point because he's 3 years in. Um,
Yeah.
and it seems like the past couple of seasons he's been kind of doing that too, just kind of throwing in random lineups, hoping and praying that they work. And like I said, it's his livelihood and whatnot, but it was a good hire to kind of get us under control at that time when everything was on fire. But you're right, his staff at Sam Houston, he had, I believe, Chris Mudge, who's now the head coach there, who's obviously putting up points and is more offensive minded. And it's no knock on his staff now, but I don't know, like it's just confusing at this point why he keeps giving these reasons why we're losing and why we're not adjusting at this point.
Yeah, and it feels like, man, he comes in with because if you notice Jonah and Frankie, you see him on the game on the sideline pacing, and he's always pulling out that postcard, looking at that postcard. It seems like he always has a game plan, and as a coach, you can't stick to that game plan. You have to be flexible. You have to be willing to bend and adjust. So if you know for a fact that Jones is our scorer, which he is, but he's having a cold game and Elliott's on fire, you need to sit Jones down or tell him and talk to him and say, hey, I need you on more of a role player position this game. I need you to assist. I need you to rebound. I need you to do those little things that's going to lead us to a win because right now Elliott's on fire. You can't just have him press the gas while Elliott's pressing the gas too as well. And then also our big man situation, I mean, we're amazing. We have amazing bigs for the first time in a long time, and we're not taking advantage of that right now. I feel like offensively, we're not utilizing them. They're grabbing boards and putting up those the trash that they're picking up from the rebounds. But I mean, we need to take advantage of them and run more sets for them too as well. But yeah, man, it's gonna be interesting to see how they finish off. I believe they play on Wednesday, right, Frankie?
Yes, they play Wednesday. I pulled it up here. Some updates. So we'll play I'm sorry, Delaware on Wednesday 28th at 7 p.m. at home, and then we're going to be traveling to Kennesaw State on Saturday.
Yeah.
I talked to Coach McBroom, our guy last year that we talked to for the Oregon Mountain team, and obviously it's a different level, and but he's a smart basketball coach, and he was just telling me that this year there's some coaches that will never change their schemes or whatnot. They're going to stick to what they do. And then there's coaches, for example, he said, this year I don't have Lenny Washington, and I don't expect this kid to be Lenny Washington, who to go up high and be above the rim and whatnot. So I have to adjust. And I think, yeah, Coach Hua needs to adjust, and maybe it's just not in him to be that kind of coach where, if that's the case, maybe it's time to start thinking about moving on, or maybe he needs to talk from the AD or someone on the staff to be like, or maybe one of his players needs to step up and be that guy to be like, hey, coaches, uh, like we aren't doing that well, so let's kind of maybe focus on another area. I don't know how that works. I don't know his player coaching relationships with them, and hopefully they're all open to it. But you never know.
Yeah,
I
Jonah, it
noticed
sounds
Chris
like you want to
Terrell.
fire Hooten, man.
I
It,
don't. We're not used to this type of not so good season in this area. So, especially at home, like I don't. That's now what, three home losses,
In
especially
a row.
conference losses. Yeah, and then we have our neighbors up the street in Albuquerque who are undefeated at home this season. When why can't we be something like that? We were like that a few years ago. So I don't know. It's just frustrating,
Yeah,
and I'm
and the
frustrated.
scary thing is too, man, is that we're getting ready to play another neighbor up the street in a couple of days, and
Mm-hmm.
UTEP is dominating. Have you noticed every team that has came to play us, they beaten them? It's pretty insane. So it's a little unsettling for that big game that we're gonna have at home, but the big game that they're gonna have over there at UTEP on the 7th is gonna be an eye opener. And I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Jonah, but in the contracts he does get incentives for winning games like this, rivalry games. I'm assuming
yep.
usually
Yeah,
coaches do, right?
he gets like 2,500, maybe 5,000 for the rivalry games.
Like, yeah, that's a week's worth of dinner, man. So
Oh
hopefully
yeah.
it puts a little fire under Wooten's ass. I mean, butt. Sorry, Frankie. Hopefully it puts a little
Please.
fire under his butt. I'm so sorry. uh, because I mean,
Nobody
ultimately
pays
we
our
need
bills,
that.
bro. Do whatever we got to do.
Oh, okay. All right, good, good. Hopefully it puts some fire under that, man, so we can get some dubs, man, because the sad thing about us historically, man, if we have a losing season, we also lose our fans out in the stands, man. It
Hmm.
starts it starts getting very empty and echoey in that Pan Am Center. And that's the sad thing. So I think if we get on this win streak, get hyped up for that UTEP game, we can pack the Pan Am again. But have you noticed that the students are back? The energy's there with the students, but I mean, ultimately, we got to make sure we can't lose that fan base.
Yeah.
Coach Hooten had thanked the fans, but what was kind of depressing was that the reason why there were so many what we thought were fans was it was like the FFA program that they have of kids that are coming into NMSU. So those were high schoolers that were chanting, and they had him at the top of the arena altogether. Our
Mhm.
student section wasn't very strong, so it is a little bit concerning because if you're not winning games, you're not going to attract more fans. You're not going to have the home court advantage, and it's just going to become easier to snowball effect into misery, essentially. One little thing that I wanted to point out was that when Missouri State came into our home court, they had not won a game on the road until they beat us. And we always say that we have the best arena in Conference USA. But at this point, it's like a fun experience to come and play us, whereas we just keep falling short. And you asked Jonah the question, Isaiah, but I don't think that hiring Coach Hooten was a bad idea. I don't think he was a bad choice. He spent 20 years in Sam Houston. Uh, I don't know. What do you want to do? Get in there and make the basket at the end? Twice now. We would have beat Liberty with a open jumper with Jamel Jones, right? I mean, what else do you want? We had three shots on Saturday that could have gone in. I'm just there sitting like, as far as coaching, we came back. We were down 12 in the second half. We chiseled it down, and he put the team in the best position to win, and it just didn't happen. So what do you do?
I don't know. I
Eh,
don't know about that.
well, yeah. Go
Sue
ahead,
me.
Jonah. I have a word after that. I have a word after
I
you, brother.
mean, I don't think he's putting him in a good situation after being down by like 12 or so after in the first half. They're starting off slow in these home games when we just had like a 20-2 lead against Western Kentucky, who's at top of the conference standings the other day. So at this point, quit playing with the lineup and just roll with what worked at that point. Uh, Stop taking
Yeah,
guys out whenever they mess up because that puts a lot of pressure on them. Yes, that's a kind of a high school college thing is to enforce that, like, we don't make mistakes, but still, like, I see little stuff here and there saying like it's more AAU ball whenever coaches are soft on you, but oh well, like let's do what works at this point. Like I just think that's a lot of pressure, and it's a not a slap in the face, but it sucks when you're a player and you mess up and you know you have to get out. And then so yeah, they're starting off slow, and that needs to be addressed right away.
And I echo you, Jonah. I mean, same thing. Uh, the excuses of having different or not having the same players and everything like that. That's the now current college basketball. We all got to understand the transfer portal is a thing. We're going to have different players every single year, but he needs to be able to adjust and he needs to be flexible, man. That lineup, Frankie, like you said, we were down. I think it was more than 12 actually at one point, and we came back. And the fact that he decides to change the lineup as we are 2 points away from taking the lead just doesn't make sense. Yeah, we took the lead again, but we started losing it because again, you loaded our lineup with offensive players, and at that time we were mixed. We were perfect. We had the perfect chemistry in that lineup. And honestly, Jonah, you said it correctly. He needs to get back to his way of coaching, and he needs to take us to a win. Because if not, he's going to lose that fan base, man.
Yeah.
Isaiah, I have a question for you. There were some questionable calls, and it just seemed like a really messy game officiating wise on Saturday. Um, One in particular was jump balls. There was a play where Chris Terrell seemed like he just kind of stripped the ball, and they called it a jump ball. You have traveling where guys are throwing themselves on the floor and they're grabbing the ball, and all of a sudden it's traveling as well, right? And so, at what orients a travel, what makes a jump ball? I know those are two very completely things, but different things, but can you kind of describe what those are? Because I had no idea. And were they bad calls? Hopefully you remember at least a couple of those calls officiating wise.
I remember a lot of them, man, because we had terrible officials. We had terrible officials that game. But I mean, when you're on the ground and it's a loose ball and you recover the loose ball, and obviously you can't stand up, that's a traveling. So you're on the ground. Excessive movement is what the ref looks for in terms of distinguishing what is a travel. And in that case, we got a lot more of those travel calls than FIU did. But FIU was making a lot of excessive movements, which again would cause our fans to say, "What the hell is going on? Why isn't that a travel? You just called that 2 plays ago." So it's not having to rely on the officials, man, because let's get it right. They're humans. They're going to make mistakes, and they made a lot of mistakes the other day. But ultimately, it's excessive movement, man, that distinguishes it as a travel. But a jump ball, it's up to the officials to determine when they want to make that call. When you're stripping the ball, and obviously you have one player that's stronger than the other, and he strips that ball right away clearly from him, that obviously should be a change of possession. That should not be a jump ball. Just because the other player is a little bit weaker, you don't want to give them the benefit of the doubt to call a jump ball because again, you don't know what time of the game that is, and you don't know if that direction, taking that jump ball and giving the ball to the other team, you don't know if that's going to change the outcome of the game. I would say it's up to the officials to let that play develop rather than call that jump ball right away.
Yeah, it was frustrating because it seemed like there was no struggle when Chris just kind of grabbed the ball and he started dribbling it, and they just immediately blew the whistle. And he even looked to
Mhm.
coach and was like, What was that? There was no struggle there. So at what point did we both have possession? It just seemed like a strip. So I don't necessarily know all the rules of basketball, but it seemed like there's a thin line there between a steal and a jump ball. So I just wanted to ask there. Um, but anything else for NMSU basketball for the men's side on what you hooting about?
Nah, man. We got Delaware on Wednesday. That should be a sure win, and that should be a motivating win for our team as we go to Kennesaw State again at the end of the week. But ultimately, let's see if we can pack the Pan Am. The students are officially, and I correct what I said earlier, the students are officially back this week because classes, I believe, if I'm not right or if I'm not wrong, start this week, start tomorrow. So the students are officially back this week. So we should have a good student section. We should have a good show out. So hopefully we can catch this quick dub and get on our way to Kennesaw State and continue our conference tour.
Yes, sir. And now let's head over here to the women's side. They're still continuing to struggle. They lost to Jack State, and then once again, continuing that road trip, they lost to Kennesaw State. I have pulled up here just how they did um, score wise, but also what is coming up because the women are going to play on Saturday against UTEP. So they do have a longer break between games. We've been having this consistent kind of rhythm of Thursday, Saturday, Thursday, Saturday, and now they're going to be able to slow down here, and they're going to be playing UTEP on Saturday, but they lost 46 to 47 and then 55 to 70 on those road trips there. So continuing to struggle, continuing to find some type of rhythm, but hopefully the UTEP NMSU rivalry battle of I-10 is always up for grabs. It doesn't matter if one team is on the top of the standings and the other one on the lower part of the standings. It's always a good one to see. So that's what's coming up for the women's.
Right on, brother.
Cool. And I want to quickly finish up with the continue into NMSU sports with golf talk. This is our presentation of our partnership with Surf and Turf. We are doing a couple things with them already. You can get a 20% off discount code. It's there at the bottom. But they are also being our presenters for Golf Talk, and the NMSU men's are underway, and we actually have some local talent that is on the NMSU golf team. We have a guy from a little bit further out in El Paso. You have Javier Delgadillo, who's a senior for us at NMSU, and then we have a guy, Anthony Lara, who's a senior, and he's from Anthony. So Anthony's from Anthony, and then we have Vari Mariscal, who's a junior, and he's from Deming. So we have some Dirty South talent over here that is competing on the D1 level for NMSU. So that's huge for them. And tomorrow's Monday and Tuesday, they're having a NIT tournament in Arizona. And so they had a little bit of fall ball, and they struggled a little bit. I was looking at the results team wise, and I mean, we were like 15th, 16th, 17th, but we're playing these big schools and USC and Arizona State and that. So we're getting started with golf this year for the men's side. So shout out to them as we get started there. And then on the women's, we have an Alejandra Armendariz, who is actually a Centennial High School graduate. And she's a junior and is competing currently with the women's Aggies golf team as well. She won't be playing anything officially until February. They'll have a tournament. It's called the Wave International, and that's going to be happening February 23rd. So, shout out to the girls. Shout out to the men who are getting started tomorrow. And it should be fun to continue to cover and look into how our New Mexico State Aggies golf team continues to move through the year. Emma Bunch is a star women's golfer. She competed at the Augusta National. You guys know that's where the Masters are played. So they have an amateur tournament for them a week before, and she was the only amateur to qualify into the final rounds. So that was huge. That was something that she broke the record last year. She's an international student, so but I've been following her, and good luck to her. She's been the spotlight of NMSU golf these past year and a half. So sweet. Any
Nice.
remarks
Go to
there? Any
surf and turf.
questions? How's your guys' golf game?
Terrible, terrible. But I love the way you say amateur. Can you say that
Amateur.
again for us real quick? Oh, there you go.
Amateur.
Amateur. There you go. I love
So
that.
so
That's some French right there, golly.
There we
I
go.
know
There
that
we go.
I know that if I was to say amateur, and Taylor Arment, the owner of Surf and Turf Golf, if he heard me say that, he just backslap me, backhand me, because it is amateur. Everywhere I went, I worked with Surf and Turf for 2.5 years, and I had to. That was like the one thing that was so annoying. Amateur is how they say it. So, trying to stay in the lingo, trying to make sure that they know that I know what I'm talking about. So, shout out to the amateurs, and yeah,
The
That right there was golf
amateurs.
talk. Say it right. Cool. Well, now let's get into some high school basketball.
Oh
We had a
yeah,
really
baby.
good turnout. We had a really good turnout last week. Isaiah, I'm going to put you front and center here because, man, the mess that you made, it wasn't a mess. We had a great turnout, and you were the spokesman for that and getting the students packed and just getting some more involvement, right? And so it was awesome for
Yeah.
us to see the band at the Cruces Mayfield boys game, and then coupled also with the girls Mayfield Cruces matchup. It was a little bit delayed because of overtime on the JV, so I was able to go to both games. But let's get started here with the boys. We're not hooting anymore. We're going to the 5A boys basketball district week 2. Hit it, Isaiah.
Man, so a lot happened. So this was my first high school game that I attended this year. So it was a big thing. Shout out to the Las Cruces High media team, whoever created that video pregame. Did you guys see that? Where they questioned if this even is a rivalry anymore. That is a gut punch. If I was a player on the Mayfield team, oh my goodness, man, I would have taken that personally, like Michael Jordan back here. But man, let me tell you this. I was not impressed with the beginning of the game because I mean, Cruces is now, correct me if I'm wrong, boys, they're number 2 in the state. Is that correct?
All right, technical difficulties there. Isaiah, you weren't impressed?
I wasn't impressed, man. Correct me if I'm wrong, boys. Cruces is now number 2. I'm looking at Max Preps right now, which is a big thing. They did not look like the number 2 team in the state in the beginning of the game. I mean, Mayfield stayed within striking distance the entire first half, and it was a sloppy game. Missed layups, missed free throws. But I love how they came out in the second half. I don't know if you guys noticed. Coach Ben went up to that student section and said, "Let's go, come on," and hyped them up, which I love. The kids got loud. The game started, and the Cruces came out punching right away, and they caught up right after, and they started blowing them out of the water. What also frustrated me on the Mayfield end, man, I don't know if you guys know, but I know Jonah wanted me to talk more offensive strategies. Cruces High runs the flex offense. They've ran it since Joe Garza's days. They ran it since my days, and now they're still running it. Everybody knows the flex cut. Everybody anticipates it, and Mayfield knows how to stop it. Coach Treehill knows how to stop it, but he kept them in man to man, which it is a man to man offense. That is an offense structured to beat man to man. He needed to get out into the zone, which he didn't. I don't think he feels comfortable getting out into the zone. But if you are to stay into man, he needs to switch those picks, man, consistently and stay compacted way below the 3 point line, which they didn't. And in that second half, they got beat on that flex cut a lot, and which opened up the entire sphere of Coach Ben's arsenal to actually attack them even more aggressively. So that game was fantastic. I loved every minute of it, specifically the second half. And Cruces High is moving up in my ranks. And if they keep playing like this, man, if they keep playing like this, boys, we are going to have to spend our entire weekend in Albuquerque. I'm
Yeah.
quoting that right now. That is my hot take. If they keep playing like this, because again, they have some really good conference or really good district games coming up. If they win out and we see them dominate the district like they have in the past couple of years, I think we're going to spend our entire weekend and we will be there for the championship with Cruces High if they keep playing everything right. What do you think, Jonah?
Yeah, I don't know if Coach Ben's gonna like that. You talked a little down on his team, saying they don't look like number 2. But you know they're right. They kept Mayfield in the game with some self inflicted turnovers, um, and then they just kind of blew him out in the second half, which they knew they could do. I think Jaden Brisby had 27 points that game. His older brother had 8, Joseph Brisby. And they had some good 3 point shots by Dominic Luttrell come up big. But yeah, it is Mayfield. I thought it'd be a little more widespread in the beginning. But Coach Benjamin did say when he talked to me that he knows that it's going to be a tough dogfight every night, no matter what team, unfortunately, this is me saying it, minus Gadsden. Um, but yeah, every game is going to be close a little, more close than we think. But it's a good thing that they blew them out in the second half.
Yeah, and Coach Ben, I'm not saying that they don't look like the number 2 team in the state. They didn't in the first half. The second half, they looked amazing. They looked fantastic. They looked like who they were. And Coach Ben did call a couple timeouts to jump on them, man, because you're absolutely
He did.
right, Jonah. The forced turnovers were insane. They couldn't get into an offensive set. They didn't like the pressure that Mayfield was applying, but eventually, Coach dug into them and told them something at halftime, and kicked them into gear, man.
The good old coach talk.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, breaking some towel dispensers and some bathroom doors or something, man. Gotta yell at them. Gotta get mad at them.
Is that a backstory? Is that something that actually happened? I don't even want to know.
That's trauma. That's trauma. We won't bring it up, boys.
Yeah. Uh, and well, Isaiah, you had mentioned down beneath. I know it might be a little bit smaller for you on your screen as our production looks like, but just a recap: Las Cruces High School is, I think it was Wednesday that it was updated last on Max Preps, but the Bulldogs
Thursday.
are seated number 2. Thank you, Jonah. And the Centennial Hawks are 10. Oregon Mountain is 13, and Mayfield is 15. So Mayfield came down. They were 16 last time. They came down to 15, so they came down a little bit. Oregon Mountain stayed put, and then Centennial, I think
Went up.
they went
Yeah.
up as in good
From
or up as in bad.
they went from 12 to 10, I believe.
Okay, so everybody advanced or stayed put.
Yeah. And I
Yes,
feel for
sir.
Oregon Mountain, man. I was doing some research before the podcast, and I saw that they got a tough week this week. I mean, they play the top 2 teams, correct me if I'm wrong, in the district. They play
Yes,
Cruces
sir.
on Tuesday, and then they play Centennial right after that. That's going to really test the strength of these guys. I mean, they're 10-8. How many teams get into the state tourney, Jonah?
16 total. But the talk is with all these coaches minus one in this Las Cruces area is that they think that they can get 3 or 4 teams. I mean, right now everyone had a good, really non-district schedule, including Alamogordo record. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and so even Coach McBroom said that he's been in districts before where they take 4 teams, and they all kind of were bunched up like this, how they are now. So let's hope. The only one on the edge right now for Las Cruces area is Mayfield, but that tournament championship up in Albuquerque might play a big role here in the later weeks in March. But they got to jump on it because they have a tough game too. I believe they play Alamo this week, and Gadsden, but Alamo's is not one to mess around with. They're seated at 12, but they obviously
Yep.
this is going to change tomorrow or Tuesday. But my really surprise right now is Centennial. I'm really impressed with them. I'm impressed with Cooley too, who's just a dog. And it's going to be an interesting game whenever them and Cruces match up because Centennial has the height and the sturdiness to compete with the big men of Cruces. And they got a lot of players that are guards that can shoot the ball really well. I think they're probably the best shooting team in this district.
And who's that player you were talking about on Centennial, Jonah? Was that number 23?
Yes, sir. That's Cooley too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanna shout out Centennial, man, because they are one of the only schools in our district that actually input stats into Max Preps. Thank you guys
Hell
so
yeah.
much to your coaching staff
Costerio.
because you allow me to keep up. You allow me to keep up with what I saw. He was averaging 20 points a game, so and he's like
Mm.
6'5". So I'm excited to see Cruces and Centennial because that seems like it's going to be a fantastic matchup. But you're absolutely right. Honestly, Jonah, hopefully Mayfield takes this as some motivation, but I'm gonna call it right now. I think Mayfield is not gonna make the state tournament. I mean, starting off 0-2 in district, it's gonna be tough to come back from that, and then you go right away to play Alamogordo. Obviously, you got to win against Gadsden. Sorry, Gadsden, but Oregon Mountain is still a competitive team, and they end that district schedule with a really competitive schedule. So I really don't see a way out for them into the state championship or into the state tournament. So I'm just going to say it here.
No, that's valid. And hearing it was awesome to really talk to all these coaches, but hearing Oregon Mountain and Centennial just like their business attitude, like they're okay with being the underdogs. And Coach McGroom had a little mantra for them, saying go from forgotten to unforgettable because they feel a little forgotten right now, right? And they had a tough loss against Alamogordo, but they've been facing adversity all year, and you'll read that in one of my columns I put out. Um, Hobbs, they beat Hobbs. Score bookkeeping issue, messed it up. He didn't
Did
point
you?
fingers. He didn't say anything
Yeah.
like that. I asked him, and he was quick about it. But he kept saying, technically, we beat Hobbs. They went down to the wire with Cruces in Cleveland. Cruces really spread that game out in the fourth quarter, so it's not like the score really tells the truth about that game. So it'll be interesting on this Tuesday to see how they do. But also Centennial coach Carrillo is really about the kids. I didn't talk too much to him. I know him personally, but at the end of the interview, he said, "We're like really cool." Like as we were all walking out, it's like embrace the underdog, embrace it. Because I was talking to him about how Centennial's a little bit forgotten too. Not only focuses on Centennial because they haven't been really there since 2020 or 2016 is the last time they made it to the pit. So both those teams can give Cruces a run for their money, but I'm looking at Centennial to really be those dogs for them. But it could be Oregon Mountain too. So
Yeah, I want to shout out Coach Vince Carrillo,
Yeah.
just as young as he is, and Jonah, you said you knew him personally, right? He's from Las Cruces. We don't see that too often from coaches and new hires and all the things that happen, right? Of seeing somebody take that type of leadership. Hopefully, he's here for the long haul and can really create a culture and really define Centennial basketball as a powerhouse, right? And this is one of those things where at the beginning of the season, we weren't really talking about them as someone who was going to be able to compete. We were talking about, Mayfield and Centennial kind of being the outskirts of that top 16 in the state, and now
yeah,
we're discussing the Hawks playing Cruces as one of the highlight matchups of district, right? So shout out to him, shout out to what he's able to do with the kids. I think that's wonderful. um, and in Mayfield, I want to ask you guys, what does that tell you about state when this was updated after the Cruces Mayfield loss that Mayfield had, right? And they still went down. And they're going to play Centennial again and they're going to play Cruces again. Is even if they lose, but if they play them tough, is that going to give them the ability to continue to move down in the rankings? How does that work? And let's say they pull off an upset here, because now they have three opportunities here to beat a top 10 team in the state. If they beat one of these teams, if they go, let's say 1 out of 2 here, is that gonna change the conversation for state?
I'll let Isaiah get this one. Well,
No, no, man. Because if I'm going to be honest, they've been lackadaisical all season. For me, looking at my end, I mean, hell, they're 11-7. It's almost turning like into the
remember what you're saying?
Technical difficulties
no.
again. We were talking about Mayfield and their ability to, maybe you were saying no about them making playoffs if they were able to keep it close with either Cruces, Centennial, and heck, even Oregon Mountain or all these top teams, because it's really packed this District 3, right? So that's what you were saying. You were saying no to that.
Yeah, yeah. I was saying no straight up. Honestly, man, I'm gonna be the blunt guy on this podcast and tell you guys that no, they have no chance of making it. And I hate to say that, but to each their own. Hopefully, they use it as motivation, and they shock me and they shock the state. But when we had technical difficulties just right now, Jonah had mentioned, and I'm going to echo Jonah, the strength of schedule was not there for Mayfield, and the fact that they lost games that they shouldn't have lost hurts them even more. And the selection committee is going to look into that. They're going to see that. And even if they are one of the last teams to get in, they're going to see the strength of schedule and they're going to say, nope, we're not going to put them in because of that. And also, I mean, what do you think they're going to finish in our district? Because they lost to Alamo, they lost to Cruces, they lost to, or they're going to probably lose to Oregon Mountain. I just think they're going to drop too low in our district, man, to for them to even have a chance to go to state.
Well, you heard it here. Try to keep it objective, try to keep it subjective as well. And I'm still rooting for Mayfield. Homer Walsh he didn't play against
Yeah.
Cruces on Tuesday. It looked like he had something on a foot injury of some sort. Just nothing official, but that's just what it looked like from our end. Um, I hope they continue to ball. I think there's a similar situation to when we had Bird, right, where he was one of the only seniors for Cruces. Now you have Fernie Corona, who, plays his heart out. He's one of the top seniors. So it's very similar, some parallels there. And so I think at this point on my end, I think you're right, Isaiah, and I don't want to fluff it up either. Um, but at the same time, some encouragement that it's hard life. You got to do some hard things, and you walk into a situation in life and it's going to continue to happen. Boys, I know you felt it as well after high school, where uh, you have to persevere. You have to try your hardest, and at the end of the day, make the memories. Enjoy the game that you're playing, and let the cards fall where they may. Prove us wrong, and that's what I hope happens, and it could
Yeah.
happen for anyone. So shout out to Mayfield. Keep working hard. And I think
And
Max Prep's got
speaking
to
of
figure out that ranking. Max Prep's got to do something about that.
Speaking of Fernie Corona, man, I would love to see him take over the game, man, because he is a scorer. Last year, watching him actually in person, I noticed he has the ability to take over a game. I noticed he has the ability to score and take over this team, and he needs to do that. He needs to step up. He needs to say, you know what, I'm going to put this team on my back, and I'm going to go out there and score, and I'm going to make sure I'm going to be a team player and get lead these men into battle, because ultimately it's a senior year. He signed. I know he signed. Congratulations to him. But he needs to finish out that this high school career and get a couple of dubs at the end of it.
Yeah, Homer Walsh didn't play that Mayfield Crucis game, but he did play against Centennial, but he didn't score to the fourth quarter. I think he only had
Mhm.
4 points. And so I know Hector Gallegos, their junior, who's really aggressive, a great defender, was added back to the lineup, and I think maybe it kind of threw everyone off because they were meshing really well in the beginning of the season. Also, just the talent that they're playing now is a little more better than what they were facing back then. But yeah, I agree. And just to kind of correct, I talked to Fernie the other day. He's been offered by New Mexico Highlands. He hasn't made a commitment yet. He's still kind of searching where he wants to go. But yeah, I
Nice.
agree. He's a baller, and he was getting 20 plus points at the Joe Armijo tournament at Albuquerque Academy for all those 3 games he played. But now he's kind of slowing down, and I agree. I think you should maybe talk to Coach Trujillo and kind of say, let me kind of like the same thing with Coach Ewan, like you said. Let me run with this. Let me get our guys going because he's a fantastic player. He can shoot. He's got a little Kobe jump shot to me. I feel like he has that vibe, like he can just take over any game. So yeah, don't be afraid. I
especially
would
with
say
the
just
little especially with the little sweatband on his calf the other day, man. I saw
heck
that. I was
yeah,
like, no, yeah,
heck
I
yeah.
saw that. I was like, okay, with the upside down Nike logo. Okay.
Let's
I
go.
was like, he's gonna go off, man. Nah,
Yeah, he's
man,
good.
you're absolutely right, man. He needs to step up, and I hope Coach Trujillo doesn't get at me because me and him are season ticket holders, and he is right in front of me every NMSU game. So,
He'll
so if
handle
he
that.
turns around and smacks me upside the head, I mean, I'll have a conversation with Coach. But nah, man, Mayfield. I mean, who knows? They could shock the world, like you said, Frankie. So we'll see.
Sweet. Well, boys, let's move on over here to the girls' basketball because it's just as exciting. Um, you might think that this little headline here is the same as last week, but there has been a flip flop. Centennial was 10, Cruces was 8, and that has been switched here coming into week 2 of district play for the girls. Like I had mentioned, it's really buttoned up. It's really easy to know who's playing who because now district, the matchups are lining up. Cruces Mayfield, the girls will play in one and the boys will play in the other gym, right? And so that's really easy to do. I wanted to take a moment and just say for the young girl who was hurt in the first quarter of the Cruces Mayfield game, I was able to run uh, to the Mayfield after the game at Cruces High School. Shout out to Coach Loophole. He got on the mic and he's like, update on the score for the Cruces Mayfield. And everyone got real quiet. And then he goes, 0-0, hasn't started yet. So Jonah was like, we got to go. I got to make it. So when I got there, I was really excited to get the feels for it. That was going to be LCPS's game of the week. Coach Maya did a lot of stuff for breast cancer or different sorts of cancers, I believe, and the Mayfield Trojans had some awesome pink jerseys. Cisbaro donated a bunch of money to those who are struggling with cancer, and the band did some contributions as well. So it was a great night lined up, and then there was an injury in the first quarter, and you hate to see it. I hope that she continues to rehab and get better. And I don't know any more information, and I don't think this is the time or place to do that. Just thoughts and prayers on my end there. Jonah, I don't know if you got any information on that. I know you essentially went to every school this past week, so if you did, please do so. If not, we can just leave it at that.
No, just prayers for her, and hopefully she get the comeback is even better. So, shout out to
Hmm.
you, Miss Zoe Barrio.
And now let's get into it. Isaiah, we're going to keep you here front and center. Hopefully that also keeps away the technical difficulties. But we have some matchups coming up. But Cruces Mayfield's game was a really exciting one. That one was one that we had our eyes on, and Mayfield was able to pull away in the second half. Cruces had a lead, and Coach Maya, I was really impressed with those girls. In the third quarter, I think they had six girls that scored, and Cruces just wasn't able to really stop Mayfield because every girl was scoring. You get off the bench and a new girl was throwing up a layup, right? So, um, Jonah, Isaiah, let's get us started here with girls basketball.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
man.
Isaiah.
I didn't get to go to the Cruces Mayfield girls basketball game, but I did get to hear from you and my sister, actually, who was a Mayfield alumnus. Is that how you say it, Jonah? Alumnus.
What's up?
She actually
Sure.
played for Coach Maya, and she let me know that it was actually a really really good game,
Hmm.
and that she got to talk to Coach Maya after the game, and heard that this upcoming schedule for the girls is going to be pretty intense because I mean you got Centennial, who is really dominant, and shout out to Centennial. I did get to see Kennedy at the game. Kennedy Maestas with her dad. I didn't get to say hi to them, but shout out to them. I know Kennedy's a baller over there for Centennial. But ultimately, man, these girls are showing out for Cruces, and we're gonna have some girls teams up there in the tournament, man, which is gonna be so exciting to have multiple Las Cruces teams up there, and actually multiple Las Cruces teams that can make a difference and can make a run too as well. It's gonna be exciting.
What class is Kennedy? That's is that Coach
Sophomore.
Maya's granddaughter?
No, that's
No,
Centennial.
yeah, Centennial.
Oh, my
Kennedy's
bad.
pretty good, man. She's a sophomore, I believe. She actually used to play with my sister Gabby, some soccer and all that stuff. I never knew she was going to be a basketball stud. I played with her brother basketball. I mean, all throughout middle school and high school. But turns out that the little sister was the one that became the stud. Man,
Huh.
she's a hooper, I hear. So shout out to James. That's not a shout out to you, James, but it is a little bit. But ultimately, man. She's a hooper, and like I said, Frankie, we're gonna have hopefully multiple girls teams in the state tournament. If I'm not correct, Jonah.
Yeah, well, speaking on that, Centennial got the dub against Mayfield Friday night. And yeah, I think I want to talk about this too. Is that I think what you said, Isaiah, kind of hit the students, maybe some of the faculty and staff that at these schools, and you should have saw the Centennial Mayfield boys game. Those for some reason those two student sections don't like each other, and they kept it classy. Besides one chant by one of the student sections, but it was fun.
What
It
was
made
it,
it
Jonah?
fun.
Can you repeat it?
I cannot. But
Snitches get stitches.
right, you could tell the players
Darn
just fed
kids.
off that energy, and even the girls' game. I know Coach Abney had the band come out. I know a lot of the baseball players for Centennial like to go to those home games. Probably majority were at the boys' game, but still, Centennial's on the rise, and I keep saying this: the best sophomore class in the state. They're going to be good for years to come, but they're eighth right now, I believe, and they're in a good position to hopefully get a home game for the first round and hopefully make it to the pit because I think Cruces and Centennial have the best shots right now with how they're playing in district. Mayfield, yes, they're still Mayfield, but I'm just a little worried about, I guess, Sienna McKinnis having help. I know Ashlyn Maya. I think that's Coach Maya's granddaughter, or I don't know how that works, but she's a shooter and she's a second leading scorer on that team. So if they can get help from one more girl, they could be in that number two, number one spot for district. But yeah, Isaiah, you're right. I think two or three can make the turnaround on the girls' side. I think maybe two might get in, but we'll see. I'm wrong. I know a lot of these coaches don't necessarily say that they have a problem with max preps, but the criteria is strength of schedule through max preps, record, how many wins you have against district champions, and I believe there's one more, but um, the strength of schedule part really plays a big deal. And I think Centennial and Mayfield have had strong schedules, but Cruces is a little down there, so we don't know. It's a not flawed system, but it's a confusing system. So I hope we get multiple
No,
teams.
it
That'd be
is.
awesome for us. So yeah, you're right. Yeah, it is definitely is.
It is flawed, man. It is flawed because we have a bunch of everybody on the selection committee, I'm assuming, is from the north. And I'm going to repeat what I said in the first episode of A Mountain Echo was seeding favors the north, man. Seeding favors the north. They hate us over here, man. We're the dirty south. They don't want us to win championships, but we do anyways, man. They give us the hardest road. They give us the hardest road to the championship, but we still take it and we still win. But nah, man, Centennial I think has the biggest shot, just looking over their schedule strength, like you said, Jonah. And honestly, who's at the helm? I mean, Matt Abney has a thick history of being good, being an effective coach, and being a smart coach too as well. I mean, he lives and breathes basketball. I don't know if you guys see him, but when he's not coaching Centennial, he's doing the stats for NMSU. So I mean, he's around basketball 24/7 and he knows what he's doing. And I feel like he can lead these girls to a state championship or even a state run. So we'll see what happens, man. But yeah,
I
man, that
think
damn North, man.
I think Coach Abney caught a stray. Coach Hooten turned around and yelled at someone on the side there that was keeping score. On one of the fouls, something happened. He turned around and like yelled at them like if he was one of the officials. And I think it was Coach Abney. We're on opposite sides of the court, so you can see down on everything as far as what's happening on the sideline on what is my side, and I can see everyone on the other side. So we have like so different perspectives. So I couldn't see if it was him or not. But but I'm glad you brought that up because next week we will be having Coach Abney on the podcast. Breaking news here. Um,
Hey,
we're gonna highlight
Where's
him.
your clapping sound? Where's your clapping sound, man? Hit that button. Yeah, there we go.
Yes, he will be joining us next week. There's going to be a preview just to look forward into. Centennial will be playing Cruces next week, the following week. So we'll talk about it a little bit more next week when he's on. But yeah, he's been a coach that we have high praises for, and so that's just a little bit of a teaser there for Coach Abney joining us. And yeah. Anything else for lady basketball here? Oregon Mountain. Shout out to y'all. Love y'all. Keep balling. Same thing. It's awesome to try hard things and to keep competing. You never know. And um, yeah,
Yeah, I
ready to
want to say
rock and
something
roll.
actually. Hold
Okay,
on, one, give me a little minute, real quick.
give him his time. Here we go. Hit it, dog.
Yeah, I'll kind of give right now. I mean, Oregon Mountain's technically in first, because um, they've allowed fewer points than Centennial, and that's how it goes sometimes. So, but they have 2-0 record right now. They could build on that. So, shout out to them, and hopefully they do kind of make some noise and maybe add another school in the state tournament once that time comes around. So, yeah, that's all I have to say.
Oregon
Yeah,
Mountain currently
well,
is 19.
can I close it out? Can I close it out, Frankie, on the high school?
Uh, yes, sir.
I like to say, like Frankie mentioned and Jonah mentioned, some staffs and some coaches are starting to jump on that train that I kind of created of, hey, let the kids cheer. Please continue to do so, man. We got some great matchups coming up. Let these kids cheer, man. The superintendent, like I said, you're not from here. Sorry, Frankie, I don't want to stress you out, but you're not from here, man. And let these kids cheer. I love how the staff was engaging with the kids, telling them, hey, you guys can cheer, but don't say bad words. I love that. Let's bring back that energy back to high school basketball and high school sports in general, man. So I hope these students pack these gyms, man, these next couple days because we got some great matchups coming up, and these athletes do deserve to have a crowd out there and a loud crowd that can actually make a difference in the game. So get out there, guys.
If you can create a playoff atmosphere during the season, the pit is going to feel so much nicer.
Oh
Every
yeah,
shot just feels heavier. Everything just feels more intense that first like 10 minutes. If you can recreate that week after week after week in district, once you get into playoffs, you're like, no sweat. I'm here. We've done this before. So you're
Oh yeah,
absolutely
spoken
right.
like a
yes.
true coach right there. I like that.
Yes, sir.
Let's
Hell
go.
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
hell yeah. Feeds the energy, man. Let's go, let's go.
Speaking of cheering, I've been saying it. Wrestling is the best sport to cheer on your teammates because it is. I've been saying fighting. This isn't a fight. I don't want to make it seem like there's anything unorganized about what wrestling does. Organized is very wrestling. It is an art, but it's something that takes sheer brute and will to just essentially what is it, manhandle your opponent who is a
There
similar
we go.
weight as you, right? So I want to highlight, we've said it a few weeks ago, there are some huge matchups here in the Las Cruces Bulldogs and the Centennial Hawks duel this week. It's going to be at the Dog Pound on Wednesday at 6 p.m., I believe. These two programs are the most active programs in the city. No disrespect to Mayfield or Oregon Mountain. Oregon Mountain is doing some really good things, but at the Las Cruces Invite, Centennial and Cruces had the most finalists from the city, and so those matchups are going to be happening. We've seen that there's been some rivalry in the 185 weight class for Cruces and Centennial, so that is an excellent time for you to go show up and show out for your teammates. And you get to watch a dude who's going to be in the UFC one day. He's going to be winning world championships for years to come after he graduates. In Caleb, he's going to be in Colby. I'm sorry. Um, I think he is a dude who's going to break some records when it comes to New Mexico wrestling in general. He's already won state once. He's got 3 more years to win another 3 state championships. The dude's a dog, and any opportunity you get to go see him in person at this, what we'll call the lower level, and once these guys in wrestling leave, they end up going to UFC, doing these big um, fights that end up being on pay-per-view and all that good stuff. And so even if you want to say that one day you saw Colby Gonzalez wrestle, I think this is an opportunity for you to do that on Wednesday. And everyone else, all your other teammates, because their Cruces girls and boys have really excellent wrestlers, and that includes the Centennial Hawks as well. So that's the matchup of the week for me. And then the Knights and the Panthers, Oregon Mountain and Gadsden will be dueling it out, and then the Trojans and the Tigers, Alamo Tigers, will be battling it out as well. This was by process of elimination. Max Preps has very little about wrestling. So um, if I got this wrong on the Alamo Mayfield, or if maybe teams aren't wrestling, specifically Mayfield, I didn't see anything on them. I apologize. So anything about wrestling there, Isaiah? I know you haven't had an opportunity for you to ask questions. We covered the Cruises invite and things like that. Anything that you're curious about?
No, sir. I love WWE, man. Wrestling is awesome, and I know
Ah,
it's a cut.
darn it.
Stupid, dude.
No, man. All jokes, all jokes aside, man. I know some really good guys that came out of all these programs, these wrestling programs, and had some really good careers. I mean, Emilio Marquez, he's still fighting. He's in combat sports right now. Zeke Vargas is still in combat sports. Emilio's brother, older brother, actually won a couple of state championships, if not one, I believe. So,
Mhm.
I mean, I know some really good guys that came out of the Crucis program specifically. So I follow the Crucis program a little bit more. But Frankie, I mean, I love hearing the insight, man. So keep it coming, man, and good luck to all you men and women. And women, I went to one wrestling tournament actually with you, Frankie, at Oregon Mountain, and I was surprised to see the girls out there. And the girls are actually pretty darn good, man. They're pretty darn good. So shout out to all the young men and women out there in the wrestling, and it continues to produce really effective people, really effective kids.
Yeah, again, you have the same build, same weight, so there's no really uh unbalance of skill set, and that's why the girls, no matter what, are going to be entertaining. The boys will be entertaining. Different styles, different temperaments, but nonetheless super competitive, and it's really neat to just go see them. And they're putting in a lot of hard work, man. Wrestling is a difficult
Yeah.
sport to prepare for, so shout out to them. And
And
man, it
who knows,
snowed.
man? We could see them in WWE. Pays better than UFC, man. So pays way better than UFC. So you see Logan Paul out there. We might see one of our athletes out there in the WWE, man.
You're not wrong about that. Dana White needs to pay those boys a little bit more money.
Yes.
And then let's push through these here spring-ish sports. I'm saying because, well, we see that baseball is getting started. They're practicing. Track and field is getting ready. They're making announcements on social media for any athletes to come out and try out and see what sports they like. Swimming and diving are in full swing. Uh, just a few weeks ago, Las Cruces invite happened, and then they are actually already going to have their district championship in 2 weeks. So that's why I say spring-ish, because you'd think that swimming is a summer sport, but we're in the middle of January and their season's about to wrap up. And again, very little information there. But man, it snowed today. I wanted to ask you guys, Jonah. I know you played baseball, and so maybe you'll relate to this a little bit more. But what do you think is more difficult? Playing a fall sport and training in the summer in the heat, or playing a spring sport and training in the brutal cold? Which one is worse?
That's true. You just set me up. Um, the spring and when it's cold, like you hit the ball, that stuff hurts your hands. You're doing drills in the wet, nasty weather. Yeah, I hated the beginning of baseball. No matter what year I was or league I played in, like it was just I wanted warm weather. Yeah, so I'd rather be working out 6 a.m. in the morning when it's somewhat hot rather than in the cold. Yeah, I can't stand the cold.
I agree with Jonah and Frankie. Put some respect on my name, man. I was a slugger too, man. Church League champion over here, man. Don't you forget it, brother. Church League softball, baby.
Yeah.
You were there. You see me.
Hey,
Yeah,
runner ups, back to back to back, baby.
that's right. That's right.
He's got jokes. He's got jokes.
Hey, man, I have one home run under my belt. Put some respect
Hell
on my
yeah,
name.
hell yeah.
Isaiah, I know you're a lefty, but sometimes I felt like you would have done better batting right-handed.
You know what, man?
I'm kidding.
You
I'm
know what,
kidding.
man? I
You
I
hit a home run.
eventually developed.
He
I
did.
eventually
Yeah,
developed. All right.
you did hit a home run. At
Come
least
on,
two,
come
one or
on,
two.
city of Las Cruces. Bring that church league back, man. Right when I got on a roll, they cut the league off, man. Gosh darn it. I was ready to have an MVP season the next season, boys.
KD, KD season right there.
Yes, sir.
Well, that wraps up spring sports. We're going to cover you a little bit more. Just wanted to touch base on what is on the forefront. Swimming, obviously, we'll cover them as district happens. One funny thing about swimming is there's no classes, at least from what I was able to kind of fork out and see what was going on. It's all by district. So we're still District
Mm.
3, but there's no 5A, there's no 4A. It's just straight up all the meets happen in one place, which makes a lot of sense. Jonah, as you had mentioned, all the schools around here practice all together. So swimming is a little bit more of a club sport, even when it comes to high school. So that's a little bit more challenging to figure things out. But if you're listening to this and you play, coach, or you're a parent of baseball, softball, track, field, follow us, subscribe, tune in. We will be covering all athletics. Like I said, we are the best sports podcast in Las Cruces, and we have a commitment to continue to cover all athletics, no matter if you play the major sports in basketball or football. The commitment and the discipline in your sport is not going to be overlooked. We're going to cover it. We're going to talk about you. If you're doing good things, we're gonna be able to cover you and make sure that you at least hear your name be said, because I think that's really important. So, boys, what are
That's
we
right,
ending
Frankie.
today
You tell
with?
him.
Anything else we got
You tell
left?
him, man. You make me
Let's
want to
get
run
it.
through a wall, baby. You make me want to run through a wall. Gosh darn it! Look at my hairs standing up, baby. Let's go.
It's your Spidey
That's
Do
right.
senses
hard
We the
right there.
things.
best. We the best. DJ Khaled, baby.
We the best.
And shout out to Jonah. Jonah, you were, like I had mentioned, you essentially went to every high school in the city. You sat down with at least one coach from the at least the boys side. I don't know what your plans are for next week. Maybe you're going to hit all of the girls sports. You're going to do something. I don't want to tell you what to do, because what you're doing already is awesome. And so shout out to you, man. We go as far as you go. You're the one who has the information, and you are providing some great context into the sports. For those people who are annoyed by me and just listen for Jonah, great. If you're annoyed by Jonah and you listen to me or you listen to Isaiah, that's awesome. But you also, whatever it is, that's what's beautiful about this. You can come here and just hate on one of us and love the other. But what you're doing as far as your writing, very professional, very consistent. So if you haven't subscribed to Jonah's Substack yet, Substack.
Substack, you had it right. Yeah.
Sorry, my other job, there is a other sub.
That's
So
okay.
I
That's
get
okay.
confused. Go ahead and subscribe to him. It is free. Uh, and then if you ever ask yourself, how do we support these guys? I love what they're doing. I love that Isaiah can say whatever the hell he wants to say. And I want that to continue. One way that that happens is you can subscribe for $5 a month, or you can pay a yearly subscription, whatever that looks like. That is how we are able to continue to really stay authentic, do what we're doing. And so Isaiah, anything you want to close out with? Because I'm on a soapbox and I need to step off of it.
Nothing, man. Hey, this was a good one, boys. This was a good one. We got a good week of matchups. Shout out to Jonah again. And can I say my thing, Jonah, or do you need to say
Go
anything?
ahead. Yeah, you're good.
All right, man. Let's close it out. Make sure you guys all say something nice to somebody. You never know what they're going through. It could change their life. 8 Mountain Echo, we're out. Have a good week, everybody.
Shoot him.
Peace.